Hey everyone, my name's Aaron, and this is a comparison between the Hudson Electronics Broadcast and the Benson Preamp. I'm playing my 60th anniversary thin line Telecaster into my Jackson Newcastle 18. Here's my clean tone. Okay, cool. All right, the Hudson Electronics Broadcast and the Benson Preamp, both in this sort of preamp family, which is like my favorite kind of overdrive pedal. Not sure why. I guess I like the way my amp overdrives, so I like just a sort of a nice high quality boost, basically, pushing into my amp. And I just like the transparent, classy way that these things overdrive. Definitely check out my full demo and review of the Benson Preamp pedal. Recently reviewed it, and I love this pedal. It's on my board. It does kind of a different thing than the Broadcast. In comparing them, though, there was sort of more common ground than I thought there would be, especially kind of at the lower gain sort of settings. So I would say the Broadcast has like a little bit more low end. It's a little bit more transparent maybe. And then the Benson has a little of that nice fizzy top Benson-y thing. I would say the Benson is more American sounding and the Broadcast is more British sounding. Fancy that. The Benson is made here in America, in Portland, Oregon, and the Broadcast is made in the UK. So, maybe no surprise there. Also, I'm going into a British style amp. What that means is that the tubes are what's typically in a British style amp, which is that EL84 thing, which is that mid-range sort of pushed thing. My clean tone is never too clean. This is my clean. Just starting to kind of grind a little bit. And so when you have an amp like that, the way pedals sort of interface with it is very individual. But what I like about the Benson is that I can kind of get a little more of that scoopy mid, like American thing, while also having kind of that wild pushed preampy, aggressive sort of drive. So that, they're both sort of in their sweet spot right now, kind of where I like them. So the Benson is kind of that sort of wild, like I said, sort of that fizzy top, that like sort of dangerous, jagged, edgy, fuzzy, aggressive thing. The Broadcast, similar territory, but a little bit more emphasized on the lower mids maybe instead of the higher mids. So they're different, sort of flavors or whatever, which is why I like having both of them on my board currently. Once you get into the higher gain, I think the Broadcast has a more open top, actually, sort of surprisingly. More open top, more open low end. And the Benson, sort of, the more you turn it up, the more Benson-y it gets, which is like, the more fizzy it gets, the more of that sort of real American fizzy drive characteristic. If I crank the drive, crank the drive on the Broadcast. Broadcast is like a little more polite, actually, a little tamer. The Benson is a little wilder, probably, in the saturation. I think there's probably more gain in the Benson than there is in the Broadcast in the normal broadcast mode. The other thing about this Broadcast is that it has these three modes. This is, to the left is kind of the normal broadcast mode. In the middle is actually a lower gain, higher headroom, and then to the right is like a higher gain. So in order to match the amount of gain in the Benson, I had to go to the right, like to the most gain. The Broadcast probably has more gain when it's all the way to the right. So, in all, so with this gain switch, the Broadcast probably has more gain range. But if you're just in kind of the normal broadcast mode, then I would say the Benson probably has more gain range. But really sort of, in the same family, like I said, two pedals, but different flavors. This is kind of like the way I like to use overdrives is I like to push, volume into my amp and then get a little bit of the character of each of these pedals. That's why typically my gain or drive settings on my pedals are sort of low and the volumes are a little hotter. So they're all pushing into my amp. My amp's overdriving. I want that to be an ingredient in almost every overdrive sound that I get personally. But then if you want more of the character of the pedal, in general, you'll kind of turn up the drive. So yeah, great two pedals. Cannot go wrong with either of these, but different flavors, I'd say, different strokes for different folks. Hey, let me know if you have any questions about either of these two pedals down in the comments below. That's going to be it from me today. We'll see you all next time.